throngs of people who have joined us today.
Oh, there's
Traditionally,
someone else coming, Dipley.
excellent, come on. Traditionally, we've always done the summer meetings in this conference room because of the air conditioning. I'm not so sure that's working as well as it should. But the building air conditioning would have to be turned on for us just in a small area, so we prefer to come here. The first item is approval of the minutes. Steve?
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby accepts the minutes of the July 2nd, 2018 reorganization regular meeting and July 30th, 2018 special meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Gordon, your report. The consumption log will be over here.
Ed, I thought you put out,
Oh,
which one? This one?
Yes. We're gonna go this way. And I'm gonna sit back here. I was open.
While we're waiting, I can demonstrate my new ID badge. That's part of our district security plan. Thanks for your help, John, with that. All the senior high school kids will get that. All of our staff that are coming all summer get photographed. And these will be tapped in and signed into the district. And I'm almost there. Should get everyone. Thank you, sir. Thanks to those of you who have arrived tonight. And what you're going to hear is you're going to be hearing a lot of this through our Facebook page and on our website about the capital projects that are occurring on the campus. You've probably seen some things change if you've been driving through. For example, the guard booth's not in it, but you see roadway changes. You're going to see a lot more gates, fencing. If you've seen the field, it's been ripped apart, but I'll take you through it. This all started back in March, actually. This is a slide from our budget program that describes the capital project offer. Telling the community about it, what was the amount, $5 million, which is approved by the board. We should go out with that. That money is already there. It's not going to cost the taxpayers any additional money. So using that money out of fund balance, what are we going to do? What couldn't we wait for in a bond to happen? Things we needed right away. We know each year we prayed that our field was approved because of the condition and the age of our turf field, which was approximately 15 years old. So that was a part of it. It could be condemned at any time, and a bond, even though it takes, you get it passed, it takes a few years to see everything reach fruition. So doing that, the track was in disrepair, replaced the track. The track field events, which I'll show you in a minute, were relocated outside of the turf field into the south end of the fields and back. New press box, nets with nets around the field so you can run track events, other things going on at the same time as an event on the field itself. Sidewalks, which I'll show you, concrete plaza, and then the security fencing, which includes new gates. So, talking about the turf field and the track first. The demolition has begun actually today, and I have a photograph of it. Some of the carpet was being laid. It looks outstanding at this point, and they're a little bit ahead of schedule. And as you can see up here, what they intend to do is if we completed that field, we completed before our first home game, September 21st. Remaining but again, you'll hear this end date often with our projects. Mid-November, by that time, the track will be finished, the concrete plazas around the field, the new fencing, and the relocated field events, all of that end of October, mid-November. We checked with the contractors the other day. He said these dates still hold. Hopefully, end of October, beginning of November, all of that will be completed. And the press box and the bleachers, they were still negotiating, but we expect them to arrive and be in place by mid-November. This is a projected slide of what the field will look like. And up here, you'll see concrete plazas. If you know the entrance to the high school, you'll see right here that we've softened this turn. And rather than the grass, and right now you've got people jumping across here from the roadway. You've got people entering from this side. And if you see the gate open here, we hope that the parking, that all the spectators will come in this way, will go through a little narrow area and walk on concrete to be seated in the new bleachers in this area. So these plazas are new. You'll see how this goes on. And where are the track events that were all situated next to the field? They're going to be back here on the south side. But the field unobstructed, right now this was dirt, weeds, some gravel on both ends. This certainly neatens up the appearance of the track and the field. This was taken today. Again, I said the carpet was being put down. This is one part of the field, and they are ahead of schedule. So I believe it would certainly be done in time for the first home football game. And it looks pretty nice compared to what we've had. Fencing is next. I mentioned that. That is approximately $800,000 of the capital project. This picture you're seeing here is right along this perimeter. We have done multiple tours of the fencing around the campus. Mr. Sweeney has been one of the latest tours through our Disney Jungle ride, as I call it, on our golf cart. And I've been on a few. It's interesting to see what we have and to learn about the history of this place. But again, it's severely in need of a repair. This will be what our gates look like. You can see here's the guard booth, in place now. Now that picture actually has speed bumps out there. But adding the stone pillars and the decorative fencing on both sides on North Country 25A makes quite a difference in appearance. And actually not depicted here, we have a sidewalk that ends right there. Right? Why? I don't know. But what we're going to do is extend that sidewalk, remove that tree, and put a gate in here to pass through, all through. And again, the sidewalk will be extended. So it makes quite a difference when you approach the district and you see that gate when you come in. One of our main concerns, we just discussed it in exec session, the roof at the high school. Again, waiting for a bond 2 years out is not a possibility. With the leaking and the damage, you got to think also, this is a very old roof. Our high school is actually now 27, almost 28 years old, and this has to be done. So we were just told by the architect, the work will be done after school. Can't do it during school hours, so they might start 2:30, maybe 3. And they'll also work on weekends to complete that work and not disrupt the student day. And the anticipated time, does Lynn?
No, I'm sorry. I was just on.
Oh, someone's at the door. Thanks. The anticipated time of completion again is mid-November. Keep in mind, this repair is 1/3 of the high school roof, but it's the third and most needed repair. The rest would happen hopefully with approval of a bond to finish the entire roof. So when we look at all of it, the field, the track, the fencing, the roof, all of these things should be done by mid-November. And again, this wasn't on the capital project, but I want to include it to show you Number one, we got as promised, the guard booth. We won't be sitting under an umbrella anymore in nor'easters. It was a rough spring for him this year.
It's a big one.
And we put in these speed bumps just this past week, which have made a difference. Because we were actually by that guard booth without these speed bumps and without the guard there, your life was in peril for people entering the districts. What we saw over the summer, while we needed additional direction here, is I was coming in during the athletic summer booster camp this way. People were not stopping that way, and my life was in danger for 4 weeks. So now, with the stop sign, the speed bumps, it should change all that. Today, improvements on, thanks to Ken back here, our technical director, we now have installed computer lines, phone lines, and camera lines. We have one camera will be located here on the right to photograph and DVR those who enter the district and to see those who are leaving the district. So those, again, recent upgrades today. But as I've been saying since last spring, the campus is going to look different. It looked different with the addition of security guards. We had some roaming, now we have armed guards, one in each building and in that group. That change appears in your buildings. We're going to have all new fencing, as a lot of you know, and we mentioned this before, particularly on this side of the district. Some neighbors have built gates to walk out onto the campus in their backyard. That will no longer happen. And we're also going to be sending out friendly letters to those we found out whose land is actually on district property, not with an intent to create wars with Vidoni or North Country Road. You just need to remind them, should you go to sell your property, keep in mind your survey will show that up to 4 feet of your property is school property. And if you drive by the good doctor's house on the right of the district on North Country, you will see a pink flag, which is past the end of his driveway. We have yet to determine what we can do, but he's attempting to sell that house. It could be difficult for him when that survey reveals his whole driveway is on our property. But we need to remind them, don't assume because you have structures here that you own that. A lot of people are under the idea that because I've built on it now for so long, it's mine. That's not true, especially on a municipality lot, right?
Correct.
So it's ours forever. What we have found, and you don't know years ago what agreements went down from the gentleman farmer who owned this, to the district, to his neighbors. There's a lot of folks who took a long time. So not meaning to intend, but to inform, those letters will be sent about our perimeter fencing.
Well, is that going to affect where you put the fence?
No, we have
you're just
planned
gonna
all
put
of
it where
that.
it's-
We're going to leave a lot of it.
Okay.
Bob came up with a good expression while we were doing the tours in some challenging areas, that the neighbor's house and their fence with our fencing is a great boundary and safety item as it is. There are some areas that remain as they are. Some neighbors have landscaped up to that fence. Some have tied fencing to ours to make it stand up. So, again, our intent is not to seem to be threatening, it's information. And we have to do that to prevent problems down the road.
It also allows us to put straight line fencing up. The more you don't have to cut down things, the more you don't have to clear forest, trees, things like that, the easier it is. Easier means less labor means less cost. By doing that and also recognizing that we actually have a lot of good fence, that is 8-foot galvanized steel fence in fine condition. We're not just going to buy fence to put in front of it for the sake of buying it. That fence is in fine shape. We were able to save a great deal of money to address some of the interior fencing that's not in such great shape. That we're able to cover all of this with what had been intended as perimeter fencing, including decorative fencing and including the pillars that are adding a little bit to the security of the entryways at a price that hopefully will be less than what we anticipate. We already know it's probably less, but it may come in a little bit better as well.
And that's, Monica, you've been at all our security and safety presentations. Any time you had an assessment done security-wise, and we did, and other districts are having it, one of their first things to do is secure the perimeter. I just tell you, do that first, and you can do anything else.
My question was more, if neighbors are now
Oh,
on
right.
school property line, and you're going to put your fence up, are you basically gonna put your fence up where you've always
No,
put
we
it?
were very careful not
Yes.
to offend and
Right.
let go.
The answer is yes.
You're not gonna push them
No.
back,
No.
is what,
The,
that was my
the,
question.
the property line, not to get into a legal discussion of it,
Right.
we have monuments, permanent monuments that demonstrate our property lines that go back years upon years. The survey markers that you see are for purposes of the fencing company, so they know where to put the fence. And for straight line purposes, our fences may have been put in particular right angles. We have not given up that property, and we're not going to ask our neighbors to now, even if it was our property and we have trees on it, we're not going to tear the trees down and reduce their foliage so now they see the property so clearly. We're going to try to be as neighborly as possible while also maintaining the safety of the kids.
Or change driveway configurations, there are a few of those. At least through night. So that's what we've been doing. In addition, I'll just mention, since I did this little spiel beforehand, throughout the district, this initiative, with Billy John Ruch's help, we have this tap-in system. If you look up on the left, you'll see they're basically the same appearance, but the colors are different on top. This is for faculty, all-duty teachers, and security people can identify if a person belongs in the building. You'll see the elementary color, middle school. Now this high school, you'll see there too. If it's a green high school, they're shared with the middle school. And you'll see normal high school, district office, those are our colors. Athletic and coaches will be having this one. And so substitutes can be easily seen. We have printed a number of these that they'll wear during the day. So again, inside security, identifying who is, and it'll help a lot at the guard booth. Our employees will be able to show their badge rather than seeking out their license or other stuff. So those are some of the things we've been doing and will be doing and paying a lot of attention to. So mid-November, when all the capital projects will be complete. Okay, you'll be hearing, get constant reports. This is a living document, video, that'll be on. The community will be informed to check it out. They're not here tonight. What's going on with the capital projects? As each one progresses, we'll put up a new PowerPoint for the community to see. That's where we are. Okay, other questions other than the fencing? And
Just to add to that, as we progress we'll have another presentation by the architect on the September meeting. But during the month of September, at all the back-to-school nights, we are going to have static pictorials of all of the improvements on display in each of the schools for each of the back-to-school nights. So as much of the community can see it, and there will be handouts for them to take home. And they'll see almost all of the projects depicted, and then there'll be all matters listed in the handout so they can bring that home. We get lots and lots of people coming to back-to-school night. It becomes a convenient method for them to see it and then also take some material home.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, we just flip that off.
If you've had a chance to look at the agenda, this is where we take questions on the agenda. If anyone has questions, raise your hand. How are you, Monica?
Okay. I see the part-time psychologist position was eliminated. And I know before, previous meetings, we talked about increasing mental health staff and things like that, so.
Two things are happening. One, the part-time position was eliminated, a full-time person was taking that place, plus we've increased the time frame of the existing part-time, whose social worker was .8 to a full-time position. We're in the process of seeking a district-wide social worker who will be in each of the buildings as needed. They're not assigned to a particular department. They'll be working, and that was what we were looking for, someone who's working amongst the students. If you've read any of the material, July 1st, the educational regulations were changed. For those of you who are like me, read the statutes, it's Regulation 135. Mental health is the main focus of all types of prevention. And we spoke of this early on when we were talking about the budget. So the addition of a social worker who is not a caseworker, but out there for the students and has interaction with the general population is a huge step forward in developing our students' mindfulness, our students' knowledge of what is available to them in mental health or where they could go. This is, Regulation 135 also requires the schools to be adding to their curriculum that includes mental health and mindfulness, and that's something that we're talking about and how we are doing that going forward. Yeah.
That social worker will be working with all of our principals, who generally know all of their kids well. They know some are perhaps at more risk than others, and they've had incidents where perhaps if we had someone who could dedicate to that child right then and there, not have a million obligations and run to those obligations, it's been very beneficial. So not only will they be working closely with kids, the principals will help recommend to them. They'll also be, as Bob mentioned, the classroom instruction. One, being familiar with the curriculum, working with the principal, how you're going to do that. They might make some presentations of mental health or select programs that the kids should come and view as a group. So they're going to be pretty active.
We think that this position is unique insofar as we're not talking about a psychiatrist, psychologist, someone who has caseload and takes, has regular meetings and does counseling and so on. We're taking a look at this person and being the eyes and the ears of the buildings. If they can gain the confidence of students may start coming to them and saying, I saw on Facebook the other day that my girlfriend said such and such. And social worker can follow up on it. Or a child had a meltdown, and it's not really a psychological meltdown, but it's a meltdown. And it turns out he didn't get any of his homework done. He was really upset. And she may be able to help him to find out how to make the lists and, get your work together and get organized and so on, and help him for a while to get himself on the straight and narrow. And just watching the transfer in the hall, when kids walk through the hall, at least when I was there were always the kids who never had anybody that they walked with, they always depend on them. Well, why is that child back there all by himself? Maybe that's their choice, which in case is just fine. But maybe it's because nobody wants to walk with them, or they don't have any friends, or they've been bullied, or something like that. So we're hoping that this person will really get to see our children on a day-to-day basis and be able to pick up on those little hints that get adding up to a major explosion and get them when they're the little kids.
This is a start for us, adding, and I think it's important to recognize that preventive mental health care of any form is very worthwhile, and it's something that we should consider in growing. And as we develop, that this is a start. Could there be, instead of one social worker added, 2 more, and have them in each building? We will certainly consider all of the security issues that we've talked about, but we also have to think about within the buildings, are we providing for our students, our children, in a way that addresses their whole health? And that's the approach. Any other questions? All right. There'll be another opportunity to ask general questions outside of the agenda as you see fit at the close. We'll move on to personnel. Carrie, resignation.
Resignation of board member Michael Riggio. Resolved the Board of Education hereby accepts the resignation of Michael Riggio, Board of Education member effective.
Second.
Comments? All in favor? Ed, abolishment of position.
Abolishment of position, part-time psychologist. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby abolishes 1 part-time psychologist position and further terminates the employment of Erin Kearney, part-time psychologist, effective August 20th, 2018.
May I have a second? Any comments? All in favor? Lynn C. Appointments, Pupil Personnel Services.
School psychologist, Shannon Ott. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following probationary appointment. Shannon Ott, school psychologist, August 27th, 2018 to August 26th, 2021. Step 7, MA plus 45, certification permanent. Her resume is awesome.
I'll second that.
You want to open the background on this?
Certainly, thank you. Ms. Ott was employed in the city, where she had multiple duties, multiple responsibilities, certainly a workload that we don't expect of our psychologists here. She's had a lot of work on different levels. Her strengths that I found are on the elementary school level, and she also has her administrative cert. We try to hire people that can be valuable in many capacities down the line should we need them. But her personality, very outgoing. I think in the way she will work with the elementary school principal, Mr. Catlin, was also from New York City and used to that rigor, and actually they knew people in common places. They complemented each other, what I saw, and I think they're going to make a good force. I think she'll put a nice face for parents of students in need at the elementary school with special needs. I think it's going to be a nice addition. I'm confident of that. And so what we did was transfer a gentleman who's done a great job for us up to the high school, because those are his strengths from his past history. And we are attempting in all areas, not just psychologists, social workers, to put the best teachers, best staff in their best position of strength. And I think it's going to be a nice addition to our staff.
Thank you, Lou. All in favor? Steve, we're back to you, social workers.
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following probationary appointment. Stephanie Pandora, school social worker. Appointment date August 29th, 2018, expiration August 20th, 2022. Compensation level of step 5, passes plus 60, on certification.
May I have a second? Just a short comment. This is from the earlier question. She's moving up to a full-time. She had been at .8, and now will be a full-time. All in favor? Carry appointments, instructional.
Technology teacher. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the appointment of British Bureau technology teacher for the period August 29, 2018 to the conclusion of the first trimester, January 2018, as per and
Comment? I'll offer a comment. Mr. Shapiro has recently retired. He is assisting us in returning in a transitional period where we are looking at this type of instruction towards STEM/STEAM instruction going forward as we transition our thoughts strategically in terms of what coursework to offer. A science-based program with robotics, a science-based program with research. There aren't a lot of candidates or qualified candidates out there. We've had some interviews for some existing teachers in that area with some success, but we will not be able to field the classes scheduled for the first part of the year without Mr. Shapiro's assistance. Hopefully, as we move forward, we will be able to look at a new type of coursework that involves what really would be 21st century technology, robotics, research, on a more science-based technology process. All in favor? Substitute teachers, Ed?
Substitute teachers, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following appointments as listed.
Second.
Thank you, Lynn. Any comments? All in favor? Lynn, appointments, non-instructional?
Katie, will they take them one at a time and finish this the whole list of custodial?
Go to Terry. Come on. Come on.
Okay. Number 1, custodial 1, Thomas Quinn. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following appointment. Thomas Quinn, August 1st, 2018, custodial 1, step 1.
May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any comments? All in favor?
Custodial 1, Jose Martinez Guzman. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the appointment of Jose Martinez Guzman, September 4th, 2018, custodial 1, step 1.
Thank you, Terry. Any comments? All in favor?
Custodial 3, Mark Hagenberger.
Or Mike?
Mike, I'm sorry, Mike.
Brother?
Resolved upon the recommendation, I got the first letter right. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following appointment. Mark Hagenberger, August 27, 2018, custodial worker 3, step 17.
I'll second Mike.
Thank you, Steve. Any comments? All in favor? Number 4.
Number 4, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following appointment. Abel Fernandez, August 27, 2018, custodial worker 3, step 16.
Any comments? All in favor?
And last but not least, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following appointment. Robert DeRosa, August 27, 2018, custodial worker 3, step 20.
I'll second that.
Any comments? All in favor? Just before we move on, I have a general comment across the board on custodial staff and these 3 gentlemen in particular. Some of them you may know, some you may know by name. Some you may see simply helping out during the day, in the afternoons, in the evenings. They treat these buildings, their responsibilities in these buildings as their own. They are some of the unsung heroes of our district. A lot of the work that gets done is done when you don't see it, and I just want to make sure you recognize the importance of each of these gentlemen and the good work that they do on behalf of our school, and most importantly, on behalf of our students. Coaches, back to Steve.
Resolved upon the recommendations of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following appointments. Lori Testa, volunteer August 23rd for girls cross country as a volunteer. Should be an individual.
You should not, but that's very kind of you.
And Andy Matthews with his in-person test for BPA. discuss below compensation.
Second.
Thank you, Lynn. Any comments? All in favor? And number 2, elementary school clubs. This is as listed. I would read them all if you would.
Elementary school clubs and advisors. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the following elementary school co-curricular clubs and appoints the persons listed below as advisors for the 2018 year.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor? Lynn, number 4, high school clubs and advisors.
What happened to middle school?
Oh, sorry, middle school clubs and advisors.
Ed.
Oh, sorry, Ed.
I want to read them all.
Please read the book. We have nothing else.
Middle school clubs and advisors, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the following middle school co-curricular clubs and appoints the persons listed below as advisors for the 2018-19 school year.
Second.
Thank you, Lynn. Any comments? All in favor?
Now,
Now, it's your turn.
high school clubs and advisors. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the following high school co-curricular clubs and appoints persons listed below as advisors for the 2018-2019 school year.
So I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. All in favor? And back to Steve, education.
Committee on Special Education. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education has no objections to the following special education recommendations and approves the authorization for the funds to implement special education programs and services consistent with such as listed.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments? All in favor? Number 2, Dignity Act coordinators. Eric?
Dignity Act coordinators. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby appoints the following individuals as Dignity Act coordinators for the 2018-19 school year in the elementary school Elizabeth Hahn, middle school Keith Hahn, and the high school Keith Hahn, and Michael Hahn.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor? Action items, business. Ed?
Action items, business, breakfast, lunch program. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby complies with the federal SED policy requirements for the administration of free and reduced price meals for the 2018-19 school year.
Thank you, Steve. Any comments? All in favor? We'll continue on, Ed. Ron?
Sure. Bank depository, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby designates TD Ameritrade as an additional bank for accepting quotes on certificates of deposit.
Second.
Comments? All in favor? Let's see, I think that wraps up that section.
Amended meal payment and charge policy, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby adopts the amended meal payment and charge policy that was proposed at the July 2nd, 2018 meeting.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor? Steve, you're new, so you get obsolete equipment.
Oh, you left me?
I left you.
Oh, how sweet.
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby replace the following items as obsolete and authorize disposal as listed.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Good. Any comments? All in favor? Why don't you continue on with Perkins here?
I would be delighted.
Thank you.
Perkins Grant Field Trips. Resolved by the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following resolution. Whereas the Board of Education of the Mount Sinai School District, Board of Education, agrees that participation of students in educational field trips, which are funded through monies of Perkins for basic secondary grants, represent educational opportunities for the school district. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the participation of students from the school district to participate in said field trips in accordance with the terms and the conditions of the grant, and be it further resolved that field trips that such field trips shall be hosted by Eastern Suffolk BOCES in collaboration with the school district because the grant requires A, members join in consortium to contribute to the improvement and innovation of the CTE programs that they could not accomplish individually, and B, funds allocated to the consortium shall be used only for purposes and programs that are mutually beneficial to all of the members of the consortium, and be it further resolved that the school district customary policies, regulations, procedures for true field trips shall be complied with insofar as applicable prior to the school district submitting documentation to Eastern Suffolk BOCES in conjunction with a field trip, and be it further resolved that BOCES and the school district agree to defend, indemnify, hold harmless each other, its officers, directors, agents, and employees against all claims, demands, actions, lawsuits, costs, damages, expenses, including attorney fees, adjustment funds, and amounts arising from any willful act, omission, error, reckless, or negligence of another party, its officers, directors, agents, employees, in connection with the participation of the students in the school district, in the educational field trip funded by the Perkins Grant through the Eastern Suffolk BOCES collaboration with the school district.
I'll second that, Dick Mathews.
Thank you.
That program is part of what Mr. Roberts has been doing with our culinary arts
And virtual
students and what else?
Virtual enterprise.
Yes, the virtual enterprise and other things like that. So that's he's lit a fire for that department, and it's really cool. Anyway,
All in favor? Steve Bid Award Roofing, Contract G.
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent and Severio Bellafiore, H2M Architects, roofing contract G, including alternate G1, is awarded to Moore Consulting Corporation of Jackson, lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $781,000.
second,
Any comments? All in favor? G, Bid Award Perimeter Fencing.
Bid award for the fencing resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, Mr. Lafleur, H2M Architects, the perimeter fencing contract is awarded to Residential Fences Corporation in an amount not to exceed $835,348.75.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor? And Ed, Bid Award Track and Field Construction.
Bid award track and field construction resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent and Severio Bellafiore, H2M Architects. The track and field construction is awarded to Land Tech Group, Inc. in the amount of $1,973,567.20.
Terry, comments? All in favor? Excellent. Before we go into questions and comments, the board has discussed some of its thoughts coming into the new year. We have discussed how we should all be thinking strategically going forward, looking at what the future will hold, not just tomorrow, next year, but 5 and 6 years out. This is a large process for a school district, even for our size, to do. But we want to think about what our students who are coming in this year in kindergarten will need in middle school and in the high school, long before they get to that point. We also have talked a great deal over the years of all of our students and the needs of all of our students. We've spoken of rigor of program, AP programs, expanding AP programs to all those who are interested, things like that. All of our students include special education. The board as a whole wishes to focus on special education issues coming forward. And we will be asking our special education community to come forward and join us in forums where we can listen and learn and discuss with them issues that are of concern to our students and families, and hopefully that we can address, understanding that we can't ever address any individual student because of privileges, but we can look to our community to see what we should and need to do better.
Well, so obviously we can't address specific employees in this kind of program. But there's those of you who have children with special needs, with their medical or educational or emotional, you're dealing with it. And we want to know how you feel about what it's like when you come here to present these needs to us. How are we responding? Do you feel that there are ways that you could do this better? Are you happy? That would be nice too. And, just this general discussion about are we falling off someplace? Because we want to know this because it's very, very important. Because we look at the whole child, not just who's up there. We look at everyone. Because some of those, many of those who are struggling down here because of whatever their diagnosis are, rise so beautifully when they're given the right kind of accommodations and assistance. We want to make sure that every child has the opportunity to be the very best they can possibly be.
The board believes this is something that we need to address. You will be hearing more of this in probably after September, when all of the back-to-school nights, all kinds of things going on, where we will be looking to have a forum that we can sit and listen and learn and be able to take to ourselves issues that we may need to do better. With that, are there any questions, comments of any kind? Brad, how are you?
I know
Brad,
you're
you're
surprised.
late.
Hello, yeah, sorry, thanks for the Facebook notice. For the amended meal charge policy, I don't know what that is. Can you explain that in brief?
Well, the state is mandating that we put a meal plan together, and the last board meeting we had done that, and stating that if students have to have, if they're short of money, that we would have to give them,
Okay.
The bottom line is, if the student
Nobody goes
is
up
looking for
no
lunch,
one's home.
they're gonna get their lunch.
without a hassle.
There's no hassle.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right. How are you guys?
Very well.
Nice to see you all. I think that a lot of the points that you were making, and by the way, sorry, I was taking notes. So if it looked like I was using my phone, so I was taking notes. So hopefully that's okay if I just go through some of these. So I think that a lot of the points that you guys made were very solid and caring of the actual students and their futures. And I liked how you mentioned the following things. Being able to meet the needs of the students in advance, whether it be a year out or 6 years out. Focusing on STEAM, and just looking for ways to be able to improve things overall. And putting students and faculty in the best position to succeed. So I have a question for you guys in regards to this, and I think I might have a solution for you. So with $1.56 trillion of college debt outstanding at the moment, and the fact that that's going to be a big thing that impacts students in the future, aside from SAT courses that can help people get into the best college that's fit for them, do you guys have any measures in place relevant to that within the guidance departments and things that could be done outside of the guidance departments? On top of that, would you like some free solutions?
Well, on the main issue is, having gone through this now, this is my third child going off to college.
Very recently.
It's very interesting, and I'll take a moment. You get this sheet of paper from the school, and for some reason it reads that they're giving you all this money, and if you don't really read it correctly, there's a loan in there, and frankly, I'm not so sure everyone always pays attention to that. We offer a number of college credit courses that address some of the core classes that some of our students will go off to. I don't want to mislead you that that always ends up working out, because you send a student off who takes a language and then they go to that school and that school doesn't offer that language and they still have to take introductory foreign language. these things happen. In our guidance department last year, and maybe you can go into it a little bit, we worked on not just you're finished with high school, but we started to reach out to our alumni to ask them how things went with the college they chose, so that we can pay attention better to how we're guiding our students. Maybe Gordon can offer some comment in terms of.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily costs why they may have terminated their stay. We had, probably last year, we had 6 to 8 students who left their school and returned home after the first semester. Some said that, also said perhaps the rigor, we get complaints about the rigor and the workload we have in the latest trend homework. But we feel we need to prepare our students. It's a very controversial subject for rigorous study. Some felt we weren't rigorous enough, believe it or not. Not well, but a lot of them, I think, came down to missing home. Expense didn't come up. What we do drive home, make special efforts for is for students to apply for every scholarship possible that's out there. We have to drive, and I was there, witnessed every assembly program when teachers go into each class and tells them all of the scholarships available. It's on Naviance. We've had students say that, I don't really need to apply for that, my parents have money. That comment always takes me back. So I paid for my daughter's education, so I didn't want them to have college loans. I worked 2 jobs, so a long time to do that. And now with colleges not accepting, remember one time, well, you might not be very young, but at one time, if a kid took an AP class, got a 3 to 5, they took that and gave them college credit. Colleges need money. They're not offering so much of that anymore. And Ed works with schools and does interviews candidates. We believe kids should better prepare for the internet. Anything, there are many things that we met with guidance about. The college costs, I have a young son, believe it or not, and I am trying to save as much money as I can. And obviously you are prepared to offer things to us. So I'm very willing to share whatever you have with guidance, because I agree with Ms. Feeney. I just can't even imagine when my son graduates, or Bob also mentioned the kindergartners coming in. I think they're the class of 2032. Think of that. Now what?
That shocks you a little bit when you actually say it.
When I see it,
Yeah.
it blows my mind. But I can't even imagine at this rate, the situation, what college would cost.
Oh, I strongly agree.
If you have some specific information, Gordon, after we close, will give you some contact information to share.
Certainly.
And we'll follow up. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Naviance. I don't know how many people have used Naviance for schools, but my son is going to be a senior this year, and that was the best tool that I have ever seen.
Thank you for saying that.
A lot of people don't know about it. I mean, you publicize it, so I
We
don't
do
know why.
publicize it.
Going
Yeah,
through it,
no, but
going through it myself right now,
phenomenal.
it's a
My son
terrific
has
tool.
his list of colleges, these are our
Majors.
beaches, these are the ones that
Course.
probably can get into it, and this is my shooting. And they have scattergrams for, that show you where your grades are at in the test scores, or what is your reach, or.
It's a huge
It's excellent.
resource. It's a question, like any tool, it's all about what you're going to use it for. It also allows you to build your resume. I call it a resume, or whatever you want to call it, but builds it so that in 9th grade, you may not remember you were involved in such and such a club or got involved in this activity. And frankly, as you get to the time to apply for college, you need to be able to put together, it's not enough just to have good grades. What makes you stand out from all of the other good grade children on Long Island that are applying for these schools? Because
Like Eagle Scout.
a little thing, that didn't hurt. But those are the things that if your college age, college apply students are coming to, I cannot stress enough, if you're coming into going from 8th to 9th grade, you're almost behind in keeping your Naviance up to date. It was a great tool. My two older children did not have that, and this made it a lot easier. I would recommend here, the people in Facebook land, this is something they should be thinking about as their child is coming into, frankly, 8th grade. Start thinking about it and working with it, looking it up. Moms and dads, if you don't have it printed out, take a look at it. It's a great tool.
Has been moved down to the 8th grade. We'll try to move it a little more each year. And in addition, I insisted when I got here, kids start writing their college essay in 6th grade. So what will happen is each year that piece gets moved ahead to the next year English teacher. So they look at it and go, wow, that's pretty silly, or I should add this. Because as Bob said, the funny thing is, when I interview salutatorians and valedictorians, we have to speak about them, present them. When I sit down with a valedictorian and I said, so tell me, who's your favorite teacher in elementary school? I can't really remember my elementary school teacher. What? I'm old. I remember my elementary school teachers, and I will have soon, on our first day back, 3 seniors speak about the best experiences they had here in Mount Sinai, which teachers touched their lives. And I think that's really something to think about. But it's amazing what happens, what they don't remember, and thus these movements with ambiance. And I think the college essay, when you start a junior, you start from scratch. You miss so much of your past. And people might have touched your life or experiences you had that you should have put away. And you might go, oh yeah, I forgot all about that. So
My
we're trying
daughter's
to...
going into 10th grade now, and she's on there looking with me and looking at schools already.
It's a
I
great
feel so
tool.
early,
Great
but
tool.
I think
It's not
it's
the only
also,
one, but
yeah.
I think it's also important for our young people to remember that certain kinds of community service is looked at very favorably. For example, Target offers a scholarship. It's not huge. It's a few $100s, but still. And it's based on your community service. Staples is now offering scholarships. So we don't just look at the normal academic areas where you can get a scholarship, but businesses are looking more and more at ways to encourage people to move up, and perhaps maybe they'll come back to Staples when they graduate, or maybe not. But I mean, my youngest, she went to Suffolk Community for the first 2 years, and she was riding with PJ back for all those years as an EMT. And she filled out the thing for, she said, oh, Mother, Target? I said, do Target.
just for the sign,
And I think she got $500 from Target.
you'd be
Well, then it
surprised.
pays for a couple of textbooks.
2 or 3 years ago, and this will be the last of my commercial, the head of the Rotary Club for this area came to me and said, we earmark 5 to 8 scholarships for our local schools. No one applied for outside. And we got to looking at some of them, and some of them were not being applied. Gordon worked with the guidance department to streamline that process and make it easier to look up so that you could put together 5, 6, 10 that you found you qualified for. Why leave money on the table if it's there?
They raised it.
Some of the organizations, some private persons, someone in this room who does it on a regular basis, offers money to our students as a good and wonderful gift, and our students should use it. And it does help. It might pay for books for the first semester. It may pay for, something. But they're out there. To hear money was left on the table was very disheartening. The guidance department has worked very hard, but I will still tell you, it's like Naviance. No one's calling you to tell you you qualify for that money. You have to put out for it.
That's on the same site.
It's on, yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
In relevances, the first thing I'd say is don't ever feel like you're too early. It's always good to be as early as possible. The thing that I've noticed is a lot of the kids, because I remember when I was in high school, like starting out, I had the same mentality. A lot of kids have this mentality of like, oh well, I'll figure it out. It's like 500. It's not that big of a deal, right? I think a good way to be able to deliver the message is in like a relatable way, kind of breaking down and explaining to them like, hey man, this is what college costs. Doesn't matter how much you have in tuition, all that stuff. This could be, this money could be broken down to be able to factor for your books, so you can use that to be able to go get food later, or to go out with your friends, or to go see a movie, or things like that in a way where it's relatable to them. So, if that's of any help, yeah, I don't know. I noticed that that's a big problem, and I've seen that happen in a lot of other areas as well. So,
Thank you all. Any further questions, Monica?
There were news reports at the end of July about the Suffolk County Raise Panic app, and they were going to be implementing in Suffolk County schools. Is Mount Sinai going to be one of those schools?
There are costs for that.
Right, and that's my next question.
Yeah, that they didn't want to tell you about.
26.
What they promised me. I went to those workshops last year with Malone,
Okay.
and he said that they promised us, and I actually had it on my PowerPoints, that they were going to have no cost to the district. They couldn't afford security guards or SRO officers. They couldn't promise that. And so they were offering this device that would hook into our camera system in the schools that they could see in their police car. So I would say, so when you arrive to the district, you have to figure out how you're going to navigate and tap into our security system before you enter the building. How much does that delay arrival? Which has always been our concern. But that didn't happen either. So now they want you to contribute to us. I actually have, and all of our principals have, direct line phones.
Right, I know that
So
you
it
have
would be
that.
redundant, I believe.
Right.
And what we're doing is getting self-locking systems. There will be in the bond as well, where the panic button and everything locks. We're going in that direction. He's under great pressure to try to do something security-wise, which he has not been able to do. I just thought that that was redundant to go for the course that they wanted. When I have two phones, I'm afraid to touch them. I know they work because I touched one by accident, and
So I think it was a $2 million grant.
yeah,
that
it
they were
was
advertising,
too
but then it was
convoluted. I had
$26,000
that.
a year per school district or something.
And say, for example, our high school has them in 2 locations, our other buildings have them. So rather than spending money on that, I'd rather invest in those worthwhile security items.
Yeah.
If I didn't have those phones, perhaps, that'd be different. Our district was one of the first one involved in that with Sarah Hankel
Right.
years ago. So we were kind of in the vanguard with that. So every superintendent in that place, I've never seen that packed, was so disappointed what Malone said he couldn't do for us. And that's why our district took the initiative and hired armed guards for our buildings. As Monica, you've heard me a million times, our SRO is 11 districts.
They made us in the office and we were getting this out.
No,
Tell
they beg you to.
us that we're getting things that we don't.
Yeah.
We'll go.
It sounded like a very expensive going forward option.
And we are working, we have a program with the boards that we have now to help them understand the student population and the students who may act out from time to time. And there seems to be developing a wonderful rapport between the kids and the guards. They trust them, they feel comfortable with them around. We had, back when we had that April 14th day, when the Parkland event happened, our high school students were in the building because it was raining outside, and some young girl came up and in tears, hugged one of the guards. And and this is the kind, we want them to feel comfortable with their guards, because they're not necessarily, they're protecting them, but we also don't want the kids to feel like they're in prison. So this seems to be working very nicely. And also, they are another set of eyes and ears wandering around the schools, picking up fun little bits of information, and and they can report them to the principal if they find that there's something a little out of whack. And the more people who are looking and thinking, and we're going to be working more with our teachers in this area, because that's part of that, that new legislation is helping teachers better to understand the signs and symptoms and things to be looking for. Because most kids who have problems are putting out signals. It's just that sometimes we don't see them or hear them. So we're gonna try to get our antenna on.
I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
I have a second.
I second that.
All in favor? Thank you all for joining us this evening.